The sun dipped low over the hills of Moab, casting a warm, golden glow across the land. Naomi sat on a wooden stool outside her small home, staring into the distance. Her heart was heavy with grief, weighed down by the loss of her husband, Elimelech, and her two sons, Mahlon and Chilion. This foreign land, once a place of hope during a famine in Bethlehem, now felt like a prison of sorrow. Inside, her daughters-in-law, Ruth and Orpah, prepared the evening meal in silence. They had both been widowed young, left without children to carry on their husbands' names. Despite the pain, they had remained by Naomi's side, a testament to the bond they shared. But Naomi, consumed by her losses, had made a decision that would change everything. As the evening meal ended, Naomi gathered Ruth and Orpah by the fire. "My daughters," she began, her voice trembling, "you have shown me great kindness, but I cannot ask you to continue this journey with me. I must return to Bethlehem, to my people. There is nothing left for me here in Moab." Ruth and Orpah exchanged worried glances. Naomi's resolve was clear, but the thought of parting from her was unbearable. "We will go with you," Ruth said, her voice firm. Orpah nodded in agreement. Naomi shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "No, my daughters. Return to your families. You are young. You can marry again, build new lives. I cannot give you sons to be your husbands. My journey is one of bitterness, not hope. Do not bind yourselves to my sorrow." Orpah's resolve wavered. She embraced Naomi, weeping, before turning back toward Moab. But Ruth stood firm. She grasped Naomi's hands and declared, "Do not urge me to leave you or to turn back. Where you go, I will go, where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me ever so severely if even death separates you and me." Naomi's heart swelled with a mixture of gratitude and sorrow. She saw in Ruth's eyes a determination that could not be swayed. Together, they set out for Bethlehem, leaving behind the land of Moab and stepping into an uncertain future. The journey to Bethlehem was grueling. The rocky paths and steep hills tested their strength, but Ruth and Naomi pressed on, driven by faith and an unspoken bond. Ruth took it upon herself to ensure Naomi's comfort, carrying their meager belongings and gathering food along the way. As they approached Bethlehem, memories of her homeland flooded Naomi's mind. She had left this place full of hope, her husband and sons by her side. Now, she returned with empty hands and a heart burdened by loss. Ruth, sensing Naomi's inner turmoil, walked closer, offering silent support. When they entered the town, the women of Bethlehem murmured among themselves. "Is this Naomi?" they whispered. Her once vibrant face was now etched with sorrow, her eyes reflecting the years of pain. Naomi addressed them with a voice heavy with emotion. "Do not call me Naomi," she said. "Call me Mara, because the Almighty has made my life very bitter. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi? The Lord has afflicted me, the Almighty has brought misfortune upon me." Ruth listened quietly, her heart aching for Naomi. Despite Naomi's bitterness, Ruth remained steadfast, determined to bring hope into her life. They settled in a small home on the outskirts of town, and Ruth quickly took on the responsibility of providing for them. The barley harvest had begun, and Ruth saw an opportunity. "Let me go to the fields and pick up the leftover grain," she said to Naomi. "Perhaps someone will show me kindness." Naomi agreed, her voice softening. "Go, my daughter. May the Lord be with you." With a shawl draped over her shoulders, Ruth ventured into the fields, unaware of the extraordinary turn her life was about to take. Ruth's first day in the fields was challenging. She worked tirelessly under the scorching sun, gathering leftover barley stalks behind the harvesters. Her hands blistered, her back ached, but she refused to give up. This was for Naomi, and that thought gave her strength. As she moved along the rows of grain, she noticed a man watching her from a distance. He was tall and strong, with kind eyes that seemed to take in every detail. Ruth kept her focus on her work, unsure of his intentions. The man approached the harvesters and asked, "Who does that young woman belong to?" One of the workers replied, "She is the Moabite who came back with Naomi. She has been working hard all day, barely resting." The man nodded, impressed. He walked toward Ruth, who straightened up nervously. "My daughter," he said kindly, "listen to me. Don't go and glean in another field. Stay here with the women who work for me. I have told the men not to lay a hand on you. Whenever you are thirsty, drink from the water jars the men have filled." Ruth was taken aback by his generosity. She bowed low and asked, "Why have I found such favor in your eyes that you notice me, a foreigner?" The man smiled. "I have been told about everything you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband, how you left your father and mother and your homeland and came to live with a people you did not know before. May the Lord repay you for what you have done. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge." Ruth's heart swelled with gratitude. "You are too kind to me, my lord," she said. "You have comforted me and spoken kindly to your servant, though I do not have the standing of one of your servants." The man was Boaz, a relative of Naomi's late husband. He had heard of Ruth's loyalty and was deeply moved by her character. Without knowing it, Ruth had found favor in the eyes of a man who would play a pivotal role in her and Naomi's lives. Ruth returned home that evening, her arms filled with an abundance of barley. The sight of her bounty brought tears to Naomi's eyes. For so long, they had struggled, and the kindness Ruth had experienced that day was a reminder that God had not forgotten them. "Where did you glean today?" Naomi asked, her voice a mix of astonishment and curiosity. "Whose field were you in? May the one who took notice of you be blessed." Ruth smiled as she set the barley down. "The man's name is Boaz," she replied. "He was kind to me and told me to stay in his fields throughout the harvest." Naomi's face lit up. "Boaz," she exclaimed. "The Lord bless him. He is a close relative of ours, a kinsman redeemer." Ruth listened as Naomi explained the significance of a kinsman redeemer, someone who could restore their family's inheritance and provide protection. Ruth didn't fully understand the weight of this revelation, but she trusted Naomi's wisdom. That night, Naomi began to form a plan. Days turned into weeks, and Ruth continued to glean in Boaz's fields. She worked tirelessly, her determination earning the respect of the other workers. Boaz often watched her from a distance, his admiration for her growing with each passing day. She was not just hard-working, she was kind, humble, and loyal, qualities that set her apart. One evening, as Ruth returned home, Naomi was waiting for her at the door. "My daughter," she began, "it is time we seek a permanent home for you so that you will be provided for. Boaz is a good man, and tonight he will be winnowing barley on the threshing floor." Ruth's heart raced as Naomi outlined her plan. "Wash, put on perfume, and dress in your best clothes," Naomi instructed. "Then go to the threshing floor, but do not let him know you are there until he has finished eating and drinking. When he lies down, note the place where he is lying. Then go and uncover his feet and lie down. He will tell you what to do." Ruth nodded, her faith in Naomi unwavering. That night, she followed her mother-in-law's instructions to the letter. The threshing floor was quiet when she arrived. She watched from the shadows as Boaz ate, drank, and finally lay down near a pile of grain. Steeling herself, she approached quietly, uncovered his feet, and lay down. At midnight, Boaz stirred. Startled, he turned over and found a woman lying at his feet. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice filled with surprise. "I am your servant Ruth," she replied, her voice steady despite her nerves. "Spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are a kinsman redeemer." Boaz's expression softened as he realized the significance of her words. "The Lord bless you, my daughter," he said. "This kindness is greater than that which you showed earlier. You have not run after the younger men, whether rich or poor. And now, my daughter, don't be afraid. I will do for you all you ask. All the people of my town know that you are a woman of noble character. Although it is true that I am a kinsman redeemer, there is another who is more closely related than I." Ruth's heart sank at his words, but Boaz quickly reassured her. "Stay here for the night, and in the morning, if he wants to redeem you, good. But if he is not willing, as surely as the Lord lives, I will do it." As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, Boaz gave Ruth 6 measures of barley and sent her back to Naomi with a promise. Ruth hurried home, her heart filled with a mix of hope and uncertainty. Naomi was waiting for her, her eyes bright with anticipation. "What happened, my daughter?" Naomi asked as Ruth recounted every detail of the night. When she finished, Naomi smiled. "Wait, my daughter, until you find out what happens. Boaz will not rest until the matter is settled today." True to Naomi's words, Boaz wasted no time. He went to the town gate, where business was conducted, and waited for the other kinsman redeemer to pass by. Boaz called him over, along with 10 elders of the town, to serve as witnesses. When the man arrived, Boaz explained the situation. "Naomi, who has come back from Moab, is selling the piece of land that belonged to our relative Elimelech. I thought I should bring the matter to your attention and suggest that you buy it in the presence of these witnesses. If you will redeem it, do so. But if you will not, tell me, so I will know." The man nodded. "I will redeem it." Boaz's heart tightened, but he continued. "On the day you buy the land from Naomi, you also acquire Ruth the Moabite, the dead man's widow, in order to maintain the name of the dead with his property." At this, the man hesitated. "Then I cannot redeem it," he said, shaking his head. "I might endanger my own estate." "You redeem it yourself." "I cannot do it." Boaz's heart swelled with relief. He removed his sandal and handed it to the man, a customary act to confirm the transaction. Turning to the elders, he declared, "Today you are witnesses that I have bought from Naomi all the property of Elimelech, Kilion, and Mahlon. I have also acquired Ruth the Moabite, Mahlon's widow, as my wife, to maintain the name of the dead with his property, so that his name will not disappear from among his family or from his hometown. Today you are witnesses." The elders and all who were present replied, "We are witnesses." "May the Lord make the woman who is coming into your home like Rachel and Leah, who together built up the family of Israel." Boaz returned to Ruth and Naomi with the news, his face radiant with joy. The redemption was complete, and Ruth would now be his wife. Naomi, once bitter and broken, wept tears of gratitude as she witnessed the hand of God restoring her family.